Siem Nisiaya, dear friends and relatives, Enta Setzelena. My name is Morgan Guerin. I'm a member of the Musqueam First Nation. My ancestral name is Setzelena. It's my honor to be asked to do a bit of protocol for this work that we have here today. It's my honor to help welcome all of you who have come with an open heart and an open mind to witness this work. It's collaboration of the hearts of all of our Vancouver School Board students who have put time to put a display together to honor our missing and murdered Indigenous women. This is, of course, a very sad story which is continuing and prevalent to this day. Across Canada and the United States, it's a story that happens every day. Our sisters go missing. Mothers, daughters, aunties, nieces, stolen from us, and their justice still wanting. As a father of 4 daughters myself, an uncle to countless nieces, this truly touches my heart, and for that I am grateful to be here to start this work off in a good way. The work you're about to see will be hard, but it's a story that must be told again and again, so it's never lost. No more stolen sisters. Very proudly, on behalf of the Musqueam people, I'd like to welcome you to our traditional and unceded territory. Xpey to you all.
Tanzi, good morning. My name is Chaz Desjardins, and I am the District Principal of Indigenous Education with the Vancouver School Board. My traditional name is Kamanisu Kamawat Pisuwat, which translates from Nihiawiwin into English as Helper of the Thunderbirds. I am the daughter of Robert Edmund Desjardins, Nihio Métis, and the daughter of Diane Lorraine Johnson, whose ancestry is English, French, and Spanish. I am member to the Cold Lake First Nations, and I'm a Treaty 6 Xpey. I'm standing today in the VSB Student Art Gallery, surrounded by students' reflections and art pieces based on the Red Dress Project, honoring and remembering missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls and Two-Spirited people. This was a collaborative and collective effort between district personnel, the Indigenous Education Department, and educators from the secondary schools, Lord Byng and Hamber Secondary, and Xpey Elementary. I would like to thank the students for their inquiry work and helping us put together this beautiful installation that honors and remembers the ongoing colonial and genocidal impact of murder on Indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirited people. I'm grateful that I have been able to share just a few words with you today, the importance of this continued work. Xpey.
Hundreds of Indigenous women murdered or missing.
Years of suffering and a generation lost to death and indifference.
Its inquiry into deaths and disappearances of more than 11. A database, over 200 murdered and missing Indigenous women.
And this is genocide.
It's been called a Canadian genocide against First Nations women. Hundreds.
Back in 1994, Sonia was last seen.
The disappearances and deaths of many women along what is called the Highway of Tears.
18 women have gone missing or have been murdered along this route.
And the RCMP's missing persons case became a homicide investigation.
Listen to water all the time.
As of this morning, you can see their names and faces for yourself and read their stories.
That's why the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women exhibit. Hopefully through this exhibit, more and more students will be able to learn about this issue in depth and be encouraged to research it more on their own time as well.
Prior to European contact and the ensuing fundamental disruption to the traditional lifestyle of Indigenous communities, Indigenous women were central to the family, were revered in communities that identified as matriarchal societies, had roles within community government and spiritual ceremonies, and were generally respected for the sacred gifts bestowed upon them by the Creator. In 1742, a Jesuit missionary observed, "Nothing is more real, however, than the Indigenous women's superiority. It is they, the Indigenous women, who really maintain the tribe. In them resides all the real authority. The lands, the fields, and their harvest belong to them. They are the soul of the council, the arbiter of peace and war. They arrange the marriages. The children are under their authority, and the order of succession is founded in their blood." Under the statutes and policies of the Indian Act, women were not only discriminated against as Indians, but also as Indian women. Indian Act policies subjected generations of Indian women and their children to a legacy of discrimination when it was first enacted in 1876 and continues to do so today despite amendments. In 1981, the United Nations Human Rights Commission ruled that Canada had violated Article 27 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights in the case of Sandra Lovelace, a Maliseet woman who lost her status through marriage. The government had prevented Sandra from returning to her home community because, according to the Indian Act, she had married out and was no longer considered to be a band member. In 1985, responding to the growing concern over the lack of equality in the Indian Act, the government passed Bill C-31. Those who had lost their status through marriage were reinstated as status Indians and as band members. Their children gained status but would not gain band membership for 2 years. In November 2017, the federal government pledged to end sex-based discrimination in the Act by proposing an amendment that would restore status to First Nations women and their children born before 1985 and ensure that the women can pass down status to their children. Murdered and missing Indigenous women and girl cases have continued at the same rate even after the Murdered and Missing Indigenous Women and Girls National Inquiry. The hard truth is that with every passing day, more members of the Indigenous communities suffer unspeakable pain and loss. That will only continue to be the case unless we take the steps necessary to ensure the safety and well-being of our next generation of mothers, aunties, daughters, granddaughters, nieces, great-grandnieces. This has to stop.
Missing. We call out their names as we search around, hoping and praying, will they ever be found? It happened one night when they were out with a friend. Each vanished from sight. Will this pain ever mend? Each face is a person. Each one is ignored. Where have they gone? Will there be more? There are generations of loss, pain and despair. We fight for their honor. This treatment is unfair. Remember their names, speak them aloud, educate others, stand tall, be proud.
Na